So, a little lesson in the perils of old frames. I bought this one just because I was going to cut it up and salvage. So the piece is like the bottom bracket, the dropouts. But then, my, hello dog, you going to help? Yeah, I'm trying to do video. Can you go? Okay. I noticed the frame would fit my wife, and so I thought, oh, maybe I'll just fix this thing up for her, you know, put some parts on it. Turns out that's not going to be possible, and the reason is the frame is full of cracks that I hadn't noticed. Now, like I said, I was just going to salvage it, but if you see here, you can see there, the first ones I noticed after I stripped off some paint, right there in the seat tube. Now, you can see those cracks in the aluminum. If you look from here, it looks like that was, over years, cranked down to maybe a slightly smaller diameter. Maybe they were putting a smaller seat post in there than they should have. But definitely, that aluminum was cracked and fatigued, hardened and cracked a long time ago. And I was just noticing as I was taking this thing, hanging on the wall before I cut it up one of these days, you know, there's a lot of kind of flaked paint here. This thing wasn't treated very well. You can see here that the, what's the word I'm looking for? The riv nuts that were in there for bottle holders this was, you could see there was rust and then there was aluminum degradation. I wasn't worried about this section. I was just going to splint it with fiberglass and carbon fiber. But if you look all around, you'll see that there's quite a bit of oxidation from water ingress in those spots. And I noticed some up and around here in the heat affected zones from where these where the down tube shifter mounts were put back in the day. And if you look here, I had knocked a little bit of paint off of this. Let me hang this up so I can hold it still. And you look right here. There's, can we get her to focus? There, it's focused, right? Come on, focus. You can see right there, another crack right in the middle, under the paint. Now maybe if you pull back here, can I turn it in the light just so that the crack shows in the paint? It's almost impossible to see under the paint. Maybe just there. Maybe you could have seen it. But it comes down, winds around. It's definitely visible there where I just happened to remove the paint for the heck of it. So this frame is trash, which is fine. Like I said, I was just going to cut some pieces off it and use those. But if you're ever looking to buy a bike, especially if it's an aluminum frame, but steel frame's cracked too, you're going to want to take a closer look. You can see down here some kind of dirt and crud where I cleaned, and you see along that weld there, I am sure if you remove the paint you'll find that that's a crack in that spot as well. And surprised that chainstays don't have any cracks, but as you can see they're really overbuilt. They're pretty thick. And that seat tube there and the down tube are wider, but they're not necessarily all that thick. They're 2mm thick aluminum, which should be enough, but not if the bike has been abused as this one seems to have been. I bet there's a crack under there too. So anyway, folks, unless you know the history of a frame, you are taking a gamble. And the obvious problem, like right there, is the least of the problems. That would have splinted easily. The rest of this stuff would have split open. Probably not all at once, but you'd have built up a bike you had to throw away.